This week's episode is sponsored by Squarespace. Thanks so much for Squarespace for supporting Gamebreaker. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create a professional website, blog, portfolio, and online store. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go on over to squarespace.com and use offer code GAMEBREAKER6. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 4 of Unicorn Duck Shadow Puppet for June 17th, 2013. You're watching Gamebreaker. I'm Gary Gannon. Coming up on today's show, Elder Scrolls Online has a target date, release date. Wait, is this the right show? Yep. You're watching the WildStar show. We talk about Easternization for the Asian market, and we ask the important question, what's in the box? All that and more, but first, Editor-in-Chief over at Zam.com, Mr. Scott Hawk. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you? Bearing up.
I'm well. It is Monday, and we are here for some UDSP. Yes. And joining us, as always, fresh with a lower third that has the correct Twitter account of Unindel, it's Farhan Siddiqui. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Excellent to see you both. Always a pleasure. So, we're going to start the show off on a odd note. Ironically, I think the biggest news to come out of E3 for WildStar was actually about another game. It's kind of weird, right? What do you guys think? The two biggest games, for I think our crowd and the Gamebreaker community in general, everybody's looking forward to are WildStar and Elder Scrolls Online, right? Aren't those the two?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
I think so.
And
for your mainstream MMO fan, pretty much these are your two ones to watch for this year.
Yeah, well, we don't have a firm date on either game yet at all. But a lot of people were speculating that we were probably going to see both of them around the holiday season of this year. And that meant a lot of confliction of noise for both of these titles. So the news out of E3 is that the Elder Scrolls Online will actually be coming out spring of 2014. So what do you think? Big news for the WildStar fans. And WildStar. I mean, they have to be extremely happy. We still don't know when WildStar's coming out, though, actually. Do you still think it's going to be a 2013 holiday release?
It's certainly what we've been led to believe it's going to be. The whole thing 2013 is the year of WildStar, and they're committed to trying to make sure that happens fully with the release. I mean, it's not confirmed, of course, we're even going to get that. I mean, let's face it could happen. We could get news that, hey, yeah, we're going to ship in 2014 too. That could still happen. But hopefully not. Hopefully, because we want to see it this year. I don't wait till next year for it. I'm going to get really annoyed if that happens, out of fanboy rage kind of thing. But it's good news. It's good news for WildStar. Definitely, you're stealing the march. You've got the chance for people who are basically milling around in this sort of like vacant stare, going, "Oh, I wish I had another MMO to play, but I don't right now." WildStar is going to have the full open shot at pleasing those people first.
I mean, do they have at this point, if they were to release this year holiday season, do they pretty much is there anything else in competition?
Maybe Arcade. Maybe. And that's
really? Do you really anticipate Arcade coming out in 2013?
It's possible. That's why I said maybe. Because it's already so deep into beta in Korea, if they get things lined up correctly, it's feasible it might come out in 2013. It's not definite by any means, but it's the only other game that I can think of MMO-wise, where, like, pure classic MMO-wise, where you're thinking that might be coming out around the same time.
Farhan, do you think how do you see the community? Do you see it as a divided community amongst the MMO crowd, or do you think that players who are going to try WildStar are also players who are probably going to try Tesso and vice versa?
I think my perspective on it has been mostly just from interactions with my own guild and with people that I know. And I know that Elder Scrolls has been on a lot more of the people that I talk to, like on their radar, much more so than WildStar has been. I think because WildStar hasn't really started their huge marketing push yet, which is surprising to me. Like especially if they are like the next big MMO, like I feel like I would have expected more marketing coming out of it, but I'm sure that's going to be coming up soon. But what I expected with if both of them were going to come out in a close amount of time was that Elder Scrolls probably would have just from my own perspective from a PvP guild, I think Elder Scrolls was attracting a lot of potential. Like people were interested in the idea of having that world PvP in the Cyrodiil area, and I think a lot of PvPers probably would have tried it out, and maybe for some of them they might have only tried one MMO. So I think it'll be really good for a WildStar if that game isn't there for them to be pulled to, and then maybe if they don't actually like the PvP in Elder Scrolls, and they just sort of were like, okay, I'm done with MMOs for a while again, which is sort of the perspective that I've been feeling from my own guild. So I think this is great for WildStar. It's just going to give them a lot more potential where people are going to be like, okay, yeah, I'll try it because what else is coming soon? There's nothing else on their radar.
Do you guys think that they change anything internally when they get an announcement like that and they find that out? Do you think the sprints all of a sudden do get adjusted and, things really get looked at and everybody gets in a room and sort of just at least sort of, looks at the war plan basically and looks at the announcement and looks to see, hey, do we shift any of this stuff? What do we do? Do we take this opportunity and really try and create a window here where there possibly we weren't looking at this as a window?
I would be surprised if there was an overall switch in the long-term plan for launch and iteration and development. What I would say is that it might be if they are so keenly tuned into the idea of coming out in a competitive launch window with another game, if that game falls by the wayside a little, what they might do is in each instance when they go, well, okay, can we maybe go with this? Do we need to get this done right now? Maybe they feel they've got a little bit more breathing room on a case-by-case basis, perhaps. But I'll be surprised if they turn around and said, right, so that means we don't have to aim for that window now. Whereas I would think that it would be best still to aim for that window anyway, because it's the prime. To me, it's even more important now to hit that, because you've got a bigger opportunity to make a splash at that time. So if they say, let's say, completely pulling this out of an orifice, they said right, November, we can try and launch in November. Now they know that Elder Scrolls isn't going to be launching this year. Does that make it more important or less important to be out in November? I would actually say perhaps even more important, because you've got an even bigger opportunity to really grab the market.
And talking about grabbing markets, all right, what do you think about, the other big news out of the Elder Scrolls E3 announcement was that they're going to PlayStation 4 and the Xbox and the PC. I don't know. What do you think about WildStar? What do you think? Do you think more MMOs, even do you think we could possibly see an announcement that WildStar would come on a console or all platforms?
WildStar on a console? No.
Would you have said, let me ask you this though. Like, would you have said that about Elder Scrolls before E3?
I would have probably said the same thing, that I don't expect it to come out on consoles, but I am much more confident that WildStar won't be coming to consoles than I would be about Elder Scrolls, just because of the way that the gameplay works with the telegraphs and everything else. I feel like you would want a mouse to just have the finer control. I know that some people have been considering like talking about I wonder if we could get a controller to work and how that would work, trying to do it, but I just don't see it playing well.
Scott, we talked a lot about we hear a lot of people in the industry talk about the ceiling of MMOs, and coming out of E3 we realize what a small little minority we are as far as gamers go. It's kind of sad.
We were hidden in various small corners in huge expensive booths. Yes.
And that makes you sort of think, right? Is that what the industry actually even needs to expand and raise that ceiling? So Should even I don't want to say WildStar. I hate to even use the word smaller. WildStar has this weird perception of being smaller because the marketing hasn't really ramped up yet, and not a ton of people know what it is. But there's nothing small about the game. Like it is like insanely polished. What I've seen so far, it looks gorgeous. Like it's a AAA
title. Yeah, it's
a title that you could tell that they've spent a lot of money on. They've spent a lot of money on this game. This is not some cheap.
Yes.
So my question, I don't know, is that where some of these companies maybe need to start looking towards console to help raise the, push that ceiling up more?
Especially this year, because the consoles are getting are going to get such big coverage. They're going to get such a big initial jump on from people, especially PlayStation 4, because of the price point and the million other reasons that came out in the last week. There's going to be such attention to it that if you can become part of a launch window for what is which is essentially an industry event, if you can become part of that launch window and take advantage of that opportunity, then you are automatically like not just spreading yourself open to more gamers, but you're spreading yourself open to awareness within the industry. So I think it makes sense that if you can make it work, to make it work.
Now here's the other thing: is
WildStar's going to do that. It's different.
I'm watching chat, right? And of course, the first thing that every MMO player says, which is the obvious, is keyboard and mouse, right? You need a keyboard and mouse. Why is it so difficult for us to why is there this mental barrier? Keyboard and mice exist for consoles, do they not? Like, can this not work?
Yes.
Right? Well, why is there this mental barrier that we can't hook these two very easy peripherals to plug in by a USB port, just like we do to our PC? Why is it so hard for us to just get past that and just do that on our console?
I just don't think it's that comfortable. I mean, like for me personally, like I've been in a situation where in the previous place where I live, one of my roommates had an Apple TV, and so we tried to browse the internet on the thing, and so we had like a little wireless keyboard and stuff. It just was never that comfortable to be on the couch for me, and to try to like use the mouse, and I don't really have a good surface to put the mouse on, and so it wasn't comfortable to play with. So if I was going to play, I would want to play on a controller, and I do think Elder Scrolls, maybe that gameplay you could actually pull off with a controller, because like you want, this is probably a decision that you're gonna make way ahead of time. Like this isn't like a recent thing where they're just like, oh, we're gonna do it.
But you could,
so it's more the environment for you, because it's more the environment.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not the whole thing about a console, right?
But could they
you're
not
playing within within your comfort zone within your room, and if the keyboard doesn't really fit into that.
But could they not? Just kind of going here, like, could they not? Well, I don't know. Could you not somehow wirelessly be able to do some connectivity to a computer monitor and your keyboard and mouse? So basically, your PlayStation is in your living room. You are in front of your computer, and you want to play WildStar, that you could play it.
Yeah, but now you're adding the whole point of consoles is that it's
on the couch.
The accessibility and the simplicity of it.
Yeah, but I'll go on a limb and say that now consoles are turning into, they want you to do everything everywhere. You got smart glass, you've got stuff on your Windows 8 phone. Like they're trying to let you be accessible from anywhere. So if the real big barrier is just the fact that you don't have a desk, which is what it sounds like the thing is, it's like, hey, you don't have a desk. See, I'm like weird. I've got my PlayStation hooked up over here that's on a desk in the office. So it's like, it's really almost to me no different than my computer. So it's like, I'm playing PC games, I turn to the left. And if I want to play my PS3, I turn to the right, and I'm doing the same thing. So to have a keyboard and mouse seems like a no-brainer. I don't know. What I'm saying is I wonder if they need to figure something out that will elevate, push the ceiling up. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe there's some sort of technology built in to be able to...
We need better voice-to-text translation. That's what we need. We need to be able to speak it. That's what we need.
I don't know. I think you don't think I think it can happen. Could they not do that? Could they? No. I guess
they can do it. That's why it's just they can do it. It's just simply it's not the format within which most people are used to playing their console games. That's purely it. It's overcoming that resistance.
Yeah, and then you bundle it with a keyboard and mouse, and then the Xbox controller person or something just looks at that and just goes like, "What? What? That's not my computer."
What do you want me to do with that? Why do you want me to sit and type at a PC? I don't want to do that.
Interesting. I don't know. Scott, do you think we could possibly see it on a console though? Do you think that they're thinking about it? Do you think that there's a WildStar version running on a console somewhere?
I'd be surprised. I don't anticipate that, to be honest, especially seeing in many ways it's such a classic MMO in the way that it's structured. In a lot of ways, it's basically taking very classic MMO ideas and structures and making it and basically adding to it. So I would be surprised. But I think you could make it work. Like, you know, left stick for control. If you're laying down telegraphs, AoE, you could use the right stick to place your telegraph area, like if you're doing an AoE attack or something like that. It's perfectly doable. It's not like there's anything about a console that makes it inherently impossible to play.
I think that,
but I just think I'd be surprised if they were working on that at the moment.
I think the part that makes playing with the controller harder isn't the combat in WildStar. It's actually just everything else, like dealing with the UI, like the chip modding for items. Like you have to like redesign like everything, like have a different version for the controllers. And I don't think that's the priority for them, that they're gonna put in all of the effort to do all of that. I think the combat actually would probably work all right with the controller. It's just everything else I don't see it happening.
I mean, I prefer to play it on the PC anyway. It just naturally just feels better after going through the hideousness that was Final Fantasy XIV on the PS3 last week. Like a similar and making a scheme to be able to have the same options as on a PC through a gamepad is, to me, just annoying, and they haven't made it feel intuitive yet, personally. So for me, I'd always want to play it on the PC anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you got games like Destiny and what looks like the Division kind of making MMOs right from the ground up with the controller completely in mind, and that's what they're doing, which I'm sure those will work really well. When you got Final Fantasy, they're kind of taking the traditional MMO and smashing it into the PS3, and I have to say, I did not play it on PS3. I watched Mike Schaffner do it, and it looked painful. It looks great on a PC, and actually is a lot of fun. It's a great game. Actually, did I just say it was a great game? Wow, I think I just said Final Fantasy 13.
Wow. You need to you need to hit yourself in the head with a box to make sure you're okay.
Well, I gotta say, I know it's a WildStar show, but I have to say it is like a completely different game. Let me say that. So I'm very much surprised. It is completely different from 1.0. I guess it's just unfortunate. I guess I'm thinking it's just unfortunate that MMO companies can't figure out
limited in their scope at the moment by where they can put their game.
And if that reason is basically because of the distance between you and your television and the environment that you're sitting in with like a coffee table, and it's just not like a desk, man, I wish somebody could figure out some sort of solution to that. We need, like some sort of peripheral thing, like build something specific for this problem. Because
if only we had a good in-game voice protocol as well and things like that, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be gorgeous.
I know a company that does that, but you know. Maybe we just. That's the thing. What we need to do is see a way to make the simple interaction between people easier, and a way to make. I mean, look at PlanetSide 2 and the way they do proximity voice chat and things like that. You know, that would work on a console beautifully. If we can make that sort of thing happen, if we can make sense of UIs, Defiance made a UI that works well on a console but falls apart a bit on a PC. It's difficult to get that design right when you're talking about two different platforms with two very different ways of interacting with them.
All right, next up, there was actually a press briefing, a WildStar press briefing and Q&A at E3. Nothing huge came out of this. I wanted to talk about a little bit, but there's not a ton here that our peeps might not know. It was mostly showing off stuff we had already heard about, and seemed like it was more aimed for journalists who had never seen the game at all before. Scott, did you attend the press conference?
No, I didn't.
Yes, we kind of knew that.
No, I didn't. I was told in advance. Basically, somebody in PR there said, "Hey, Scott, you can go if you want, and we'd love to see you." But basically, everything there you're going to already have covered on your site. Zam's already got it all sorted, so I used that time instead to go play the game. So it was the only time I was going to be able to. So yeah, I did that instead.
And we did. So there was a lot of Korean journalists apparently at the event, and they actually showed the trailers that they displayed had Korean subtitles. So it doesn't really affect us, but Carbine are obviously looking at the Asian market as well to extend the brand over there for on a financial front, especially for the company. We often joke, if you guys are fans of This Week in MMO, we often joke about the westernization of MMOs, which I find highly racist personally, but
Just a touch.
when is the Mexicanization coming for that game? When are you gonna Mexican that game up a little bit?
Where's the Belgian? Where's the Belgianization?
Belgianization.
Yeah,
So,
edible waffles. That's it.
So basically, what did you guys see anything immediately? Have you seen anything immediately that stands out in WildStar that you think would require a bit of Easternization besides the obvious language translation?
The problem is when we talk about this, we always go for right. If it's east to west, we need to make it less grindy, add more story. So does that mean that we're supposed to take story out and have more quests where you kill 3,000 creatures in WildStar? We're going to talk a bit more about specific design things, but I think that the game itself, if you start tinkering with it in its basic structures, you lose a lot of what the game is in its entirety, and that's very dangerous. But what you will have, I think, which will go really well with Korea, is the competitive PvE elements of it will go down very well. And if they can make the PvP work on that side as well, especially with the sort of variety of moves, you've got a lot of skill shots going on in there. I think that would play very nicely in the Korean market. So if they focused on that, I don't think it'd be that much of a problem.
Farhan, any ideas, any suggestions, any thoughts?
I know that what they've said is that they, again, I haven't had a chance to play the game yet, so I'm a little bit sad here. But
well, we did.
I know, right? But I feel like what they've said is that the gameplay, the combat is really enjoyable, and that the developers themselves have found themselves just killing mobs for fun a lot. So I think that if the combat actually is that engaging, I think it definitely has the potential to do well over there.
I mean, this is really interesting. One of the journalists at the event said that made a point to say that in China or Korea they don't really know Pixar, and they kind of made that connection to the art style, and they asked actually if the art would be localized, which I would go out on a limb and say that would be crazy. Have we ever seen that happen? I doubt that's going to happen. Apparently,
didn't they do that with the undead in WoW?
Well, they remove like skulls and Forsaken. I think in some markets they have to remove like skulls and crossbone or something because it's very bad. But I don't know. Could you see them doing something like this? Could you see them actually localizing the art? I kind of doubt it personally. But that opens up. But what do you think about that? Like as far as like, because we talk about WildStar, it has so much personality. Like it's really built around the personality and the art style and stuff like that. Do you think that that's going to get lost in translation just in general? Is that something that we really only kind of get here in the West because we have the rootings of Pixar and that type of animation?
I think that it's certainly feasible that it could. I mean, when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to sort of humor especially, it varies so much, not just from hemispheres, but from country to country, that it's certainly possible that might be an element that isn't really going to spark a great interest. So yeah, but what it comes down to is how much of the game do you have to change to make it work, and then at what point are you just making a new game? So I'm sure if there are adjustments that they can make that make sense, that will make the game more appealing, and doesn't essentially mean overhauling the entire game itself, then I'm sure they'll look at making it.
I think that one thing that they said that as far as the choices for races go, and some of the reasons why they put human on both sides and things like that, I think that they are cognizant of trying to make sure that there is something that would appeal to different demographics on like every part of the game. So like they don't want it to be where sort of like the vanilla WoW release, where one side is like the pretty side and the other side is like the less pretty side, and people flock to one side or the other. So they want to hit different kinds of demographics by having things that would appeal to one another. And I know that I think in that interview or article, they talked about how the Granok didn't really resonate that much with the Korean people because they thought he looked a little bit too like a bad guy. He's like all rough and tough and whatever. But hopefully they do find something that is appealing to them.
Yeah, I mean this is a really good example. I was just going to bring this up. Is that this when they showed off the Granok race to various markets, the Westerners absolutely loved it. Like they just loved it, right? Of course, like who doesn't want to be in the Western market? Who doesn't want to be the big, huge, hulking, menacing bad guy, right? But Koreans were not impressed because they felt the big, strong, ugly race kind of looked too much like a bad guy to them. And I can totally understand that.
Yeah, the anti-hero is such a strong concept in especially American culture. The anti-hero since the 90s has become really prevalent when it comes to characterization, especially for antagonists within stories, for film, comics, everything. Whereas that's not necessarily the same across the world. So they look at that and go, who on earth would want to play that? It's big, it's ugly, you're the mean person and no one wants to do it. So it's absolutely understandable.
But for a Western market, that is super cool. Like that is totally the race I want to play. I mean, look at him. Be like, yeah, I totally want to be that guy. I totally want to be the bad guy. I don't know. Really interesting stuff. Going to see how that shakes out. All right. I want to talk about this awesome thread on Reddit. But first, I want to tell you guys about a great deal we got going on with Shutterstock. If you guys have not checked it out, go over to Shutterstock. You know what Shutterstock is? I will tell you. Shutterstock. Photos, videos, royalty free, whatever you need. You need custom artwork. You need vectors, icons for your website. Whatever you need, they got it. You go over and we're using this guy on our current Facebook giveaway right now. Might be up, but this is our new little mascot, our little green Gamebreaker robot. Found him over on the Shutterstock. All you got to do is go over to shutterstock.com and on new accounts and use promo code Gamebreaker6. It's going to get you 30% off on your account, which is awesome. Whatever you need, just, stock footage. If you're doing a video project, they've got tons of it. Like maybe you need, let's see, maybe you need this guy right here. What is this one? I'm just going to look stock foot. He's tired and stressed businessman. Oh, I'm tired and stressed. But if you're working on a video project, like you can't go shoot that. That is awesome stuff. You edit that up. That is money. Oh, wasn't showing it to you. There he is.
There you go.
You can let me know, guys, if you don't see it.
I was trying to give you my "what the hell are you doing" look.
Tons of stock footage, photos, vector artwork,
no, my
icons.
Coming this weekend.
Oh no. Tons of great stuff. Backgrounds. A lot of the times we get a lot of the Gamebreaker backgrounds and moving things like that. People are like, oh my God, where'd you get the glowies? Yeah, I went over to Shutterstock and I downloaded something like this. I need fire or embers. Oh yeah, I went to Shutterstock and I downloaded that because who's got time to make it? It's already made for you. Who doesn't like cats on green screen? Cats on green screen.
I have a green screen just to put my cat on.
Floating astronaut in space. So much stuff. I mean, really, I can't even get into if you have a website or you're working on a project, or you're doing videos on YouTube or any of that stuff, you got to go look at Shutterstock because you can really help just even like logo intros and animations and things like that. Like you can find all kinds of stuff like that. You're doing a commercial. What is this? What is this? How cool is that? That's like an animation for like a video game. Holy crap, that's good.
And then there was a man, and then there were birds, and things happened.
So much cool stuff.
Man and birds things.
I honestly, I probably hit Shutterstock at least 5 times a day right now because we're redoing all kinds of stuff. We're working on a new website. And all the icons, we're changing everything. Like we're looking for all kinds of assets, and I'm on here all day, and it just amazes me how much good stuff there are. So go over to Shutterstock.com, make yourself a new account, get 30% off. All you got to do is use Gamebreaker6 as your promo code and check it out today. You will not be sad. It's really, 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 really worth it. I love Shutterstock. So there's a fun thread on Reddit discussing what people would like to see in the box release. We still have those things? I thought those days were over.
Boxes.
What's in the... First of all, I guess for the sake of this thread, we should assume they're going to have a box. I don't know. Do you guys think that they could possibly just go all digital?
Sure, they could. I mean, they won't, but they could.
Yeah.
I mean, it does seem like the box. It's almost like the box now. The only reason to have it is for a collector's edition. Because
that's it.
I don't understand why you're just going to buy a standard edition box for most games now, unless you just like having a full shelf, and
or a full trash can afterward.
Yes, you've got a huge amount of shelving space that you just don't know what to do with. Great, there's another box to put on it. Yeah, collector's editions are pretty much the only reason to have physical boxes now.
I mean, do people still like having the physical boxes? Is that collector mentality of MMO players that really just want the box? I'm trying to watch chat rooms see what people think of it. I'm not sure. Like I said, I actually liked. I don't collect collector's editions, but I like having them. Like if there's a game I'm interested in, I got the Guild Wars 2 and I got the Warhammer one. I got all the all the World of Warcraft ones, Final Fantasy, all. So I buy the collector's edition, and I really don't even do anything with them. I just kind of keep them. But do people really buy the boxes anymore?
I don't. Well, no, I don't. I've stopped buying boxes a while back. Collector's edition's cool. You get some nice shiny stuff if I really like the game. But if it's just a standard edition, no, what's the point? I
mean, in standard editions, do the boxes even come with books anymore? Like, I remember they used to come with books, like, and the disc. Like, or does it just come with a disc?
Yeah, but I'm a male, so that means I never read the instructions anyway, so I never read the books. So
This is true. I don't know. I didn't even think about this. I just built a brand new gaming PC. I didn't even put a CD drive in it. I didn't even put one in it.
Hold on.
Scott's gonna go get something. I don't know, Farhan. Do you buy boxes? Do you still buying boxes?
I sometimes if I'm giving it as a gift, I'll get a box just because it's something that I can wrap and give it to somebody. But besides that, I'd never buy a box.
I'm unwrapping.
Scott's unwrapping. Unwrapping Age of Wushu.
Yes, I am.
I mean, the reason you buy the collector's edition, obviously you're hoping for like a mouse pad, a book, some collectible things, and the extra stuff. So that's it. You got a card with a code, right? Is that what that is?
Someone just got a Age of Wushu redeem key. Who spots that? Well done. Congratulations.
There you go. Enhancing.
So no, there's not a box. There's not a book in here either. So.
There's no book, right? It's literally just the disc. No, it's a case,
just a disc,
the disc, and the card, and.
Yep.
And that disc is probably obsolete, and there's probably a gajillion patches already.
Yes.
And there's loud banging in the studio today. I don't know if you can hear that.
I can hear that, yes.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
It's not the drummer. The drummer's not back again, is he?
No, he's not back. This is totally different. I don't know. They're building something somewhere. I just hear them. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. I think they may just go collector's edition, no physical box for standard editions. It seems like such a waste. I guess the only people that really could benefit from it are people with really terrible internet connections. And if they have to download a huge
I think it's partly retailers. Retailers going to the studios, we're going to be upset with you if you don't get a physical box set. That's the only reason now, is to basically keep retailers happy. There's no
But why reason. But why does WildStar have to keep a retailer happy?
Well, because the publishing company might have deals with retailers.
That's true.
Retailers say, hey.
Yeah, there could be other deals. I don't know. It seems kind of old school at this point.
It is very old school. It's very old school. That's why there's so many high street retailers for video games been having some serious problems in recent years. Quite a few have been shutting down or on the brink of it.
One thing that actually having the physical thing is actually sort of handy for is recently when Guild Wars came out, I got an extra, or Guild Wars 2 rather, I got an extra copy for a friend, and then he ended up not wanting it. So I just was sitting on it, and I ended up activating it as an account for my wife, and she never played. But recently we wanted to start playing again, and she forgot her password. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna redo the thing. But then we needed the key, so I had to like dig through months and months of old emails looking for the key that I got from like Green Man Gaming, and they emailed me or whatever because they wanted that key. So just having the physical thing, I guess it's like I never had a problem with like finding those keys for other games because I had the physical thing still. But
I don't know. I hate all the physical garbage around the office and stuff. The cool stuff I like. And then someday when they do the CEs, you're just gonna get a 3D printer, and it's gonna be like, buy the collector's edition online. Here are these schematics for your 3D printer to just build shit for you. And you're like, okay, there's my cool stuff. And then I'm done. All right, let's talk about like, I don't know. What do you think about being a digital deluxe version? What do you guys think about, what would you like to see? Cosmetics, maybe a mount?
Yeah, nice map. I always like a nice map. If you get a collector's edition. It's the classic.
No, not the collector's edition. Digital deluxe version.
Oh, sorry, digital deluxe. Sorry, my brain hurts. The mounts always good. Pets, we like pets to run around with. They're the standard ones. Yeah.
I want housing items. I want stuff in my house.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
something that says something that's like a throne because something particularly shiny.
Or something outside that says to everybody that you were the you spent the extra coin on buying it. What about the collector's edition then? You think a statue? You think you're looking full on statue kind of thing? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all part of the branding, isn't it? You're gonna have to a recognizable. Guild Wars 2 had Ritlock, Brimstone, like nice big recognizable one. You got Malgus for Star Wars: The Old Republic. So what we're gonna have for WildStar, what character would it be?
I don't know. Who's actually put out maybe your favorite collector's edition? Because you got the World of Warcraft style boxes that pretty much have not changed in years. You got a really awesome like hardcover art book, which is a great book, which is usually pretty much why I only buy their collector's editions, just for that book.
Soundtrack, always
the soundtrack. They usually have I feel like there's like a making of DVD behind the scenes thing, which you can watch on YouTube as soon as it's available.
Yes, exactly.
Mouse pad, which I don't really touch that. My personal favorite thing in the World of Warcraft one's the book. Would you rather get something like that or the statue?
I want both. I'm greedy.
Now he wants both. All right, now you got to make a huge hardcover coffee table WildStar book and a mount or a statue and all the cosmetic stuff.
Hey, if I'm paying $100 and blah dollars for it, I expect a statue and a book. I want a book that's so big I can put baked bean cans underneath it and make it into a table. That's what I want.
That's what he wants.
Yeah.
Farham, what do you want in your collector's edition? Anything special?
Sort of like a shout out to Zapro at WildStar Central. He recently, I think for his birthday, they sent him like this really cool, I think it was a Granok statue. I want that statue. Yeah. So they have the technology to make these things. I want one.
Technology of statues. Amazing. Farhan Siddiqui, follow him on the Twitter at Unindel, UNINDEL. Always a pleasure, sir.
Cute.
Hopefully you get your statue. Scott Hawks, editor-in-chief at Zam.com. Go over to Zam.com, Zam.com, and follow Scott at Jarimore, JARIMOR. That is Jarimore on the Twitter.
That's me.
Always a pleasure, sir.
And you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Gary Gannon, follow Gamebreaker TV, Gamebreaker TV, and don't forget to follow our Facebook page, facebook.com/Gamebreaker TV. We got lots of good giveaways and more to come. So we do the show live every single Monday at 1. Come on, show up for the live show. Gonna be a good time. Talk to you next week. Unicorn Duck Shadow Puppet. Out.